Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you some useful ways to customize the Finder toolbar. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So most Mac windows have a toolbar that's across the top of the window. In the Finder, the toolbar is right here. It's got all of these different buttons and a search field. In most apps, when you see a toolbar like this, you can customize it. One way to get to the customization options is to go to the View menu and look for Customize Toolbar. But you can do the same thing usually with Control-click, right-click, or two-finger click on a trackpad in a blank area of the toolbar, like this, and then choose Customize Toolbar. This then brings up a control panel here with new buttons that you could add to the toolbar and a default set here at the bottom that you could drag to it to reset it. So let's add a new folder button. I'm going to drag this here just to the left of the Finder Views button set here. So now when I click Done, if I want to create a new folder, I can of course still go to File and then New Folder. But I could also use this button here and it will create a new folder like that. When in this editing mode, you can also drag items out and you could rearrange items. So I can take the 4-button view set here and drag it around and reposition it. And I can add other things. So something useful to add might be a quick look button if you prefer to click somewhere rather than using a keyboard shortcut. This button here will add a preview button. So bring up or remove the preview section on the right side. There's also this path button here. So some useful things. The path button will show you the path to the current location. You can get the same thing by holding that command and clicking the title here. The preview button brings up previews here on the right, and quick look will bring up the quick look window or dismiss it. And then if you ever want to go back to the default set, just drag this large item here back up, add it, and it resets the entire thing. Now you can also add other items here when you're in this editing mode. The trick is to have two Finder windows open. So the first Finder window, you're going to go into the editing mode for the toolbar. Then you're going to open up a second Finder window. And the second Finder window is in normal mode, so you can access files and folders in it. One thing you can add to the toolbar here is a folder. So let's take this folder called Current. I'm going to drag it from this one Finder window here into the toolbar of the Finder window that's in edit mode like this. And it adds the folder icon there. Now this will give you two things. First, it'll give you a quick way to jump to that folder. So of course I could just jump into the current folder, but maybe I'm not even here. Maybe I'm in a completely separate folder like this. I can click here and it will take me right to that current folder. Another thing I can do is I can use this as a drop zone. So I can grab a file like say this one and drop it in here. And then if I go to that folder by clicking on it like that, I could see that that file has been moved there. So note that this really gives you no advantage over just having this folder in the left sidebar. So if I were to go up here and add current into the left sidebar, I get an item here that works in much the same way. I can click it to jump to that location and I can drag and drop files into it. So what you may want to do is reserve an icon up here for an extremely important single folder that you access all the time and use the sidebar here when you have multiple folders that you want to have easy access to. Now in a similar way, we can add a file instead of a folder. So let's customize toolbar in this window here. I'm going to drag this folder out here to clear the space and I'm going to go and look at a file like let's say this one and I'm going to drag that into the other window here. And you can see the file appears there with its icon. So now I can use this to open up this file really quickly. This could be useful if you've got one file that's so important that you're using it all the time, always opening and closing this file. You could stick it there in the Finder toolbar to have easy access to it. Of course, if you're going to do that for multiple files, it's going to get pretty crowded. Now instead of adding a file, you can also add an app here. So in the second Finder window, I'm going to go to the Applications folder. So now I have a list of all my applications here. And I'm going to add an app. Let's add Pixelmator Pro, a third-party app here for editing images. And now I've got that in the toolbar. What I can do with this is I can click it once and it will launch the app. But I could also, as you might expect, use it as a drop zone. So I could take this file here and drop it onto it and it will open up Pixelmator Pro and that image will open up inside it. So if you find yourself often working all day in a specific app that's the main app that you use, you may want to add an icon to it in the Finder toolbar like that. Now another thing you can add is a shortcut. And of course with shortcuts we can do a lot of different things. So I'm going to launch the Shortcuts app here, and I've created a few shortcuts as examples. This one's a fairly simple one. It's going to use the Find Windows action, and it's going to find all the windows limited to 1. So in other words, the topmost window. I have to add in a filter here at the top for width is greater than 50, because when you're screen recording, the little icons that appear here at the top, they are little windows as well, but they're small. So as long as I say width is greater than 50 and I limit to 1, it's going to be the frontmost window. And then I'm just going to use the Move Windows action to move windows to center. There are a bunch of different things that you can actually use, like here's the Move Windows one, but you can also use a Resize window to resize it to a specific width and height, or put it in a corner or on half a screen. So I've got this Center Current Window shortcut. I've set the icon up to be this positioning icon here, since that kind of conveys its function. And I've set it to a light gray, so I think it'll look good in the toolbar this way. And what I'm going to do to add it to the toolbar is I'm going to go to File, and then I'm going to Share to Dock. That's going to create a little mini app version of this shortcut. And if I look in the dock, I'll see Center Current Window. I can actually just drag that out of the dock. I'm not going to use this in the dock. Instead, I'm going to go to my Home folder, and in my Home folder there's an Applications folder. And when I added Center Current Window to the dock, it actually added it here. So now what I'm going to do is open up a second Finder window, and I'm going to have this window enter the Customize Toolbar mode, move it out of the way, and I'm going to drag from that first Finder window this shortcut here. And now I've added that there. When I click it, it's going to take the frontmost window and center it. Well, guess what? When you click it in a Finder window, the Finder window you're working in is the frontmost window. So now let's give it a try. I'm going to move this window so it's not centered, and if I click it, it will center this window. Here's another one I've created. It's called Send Files. So in this one, it's going to use Get Selected Files in the Finder. So it's going to rely on the fact that I've selected files first. Then it's going to use the Mail action, Send, and I'm going to put what to send as the file. I'm going to leave recipient and subject as blanks, but you could fill those in. If you're always sending to the same person, you can just add them as a recipient here, and you could add a subject that makes sense. Under Show More, I just have Show Compose Sheet turned on so that it will basically open up Mail with a composition window with those files already attached. I've set the icon here to be a little paperclip and that light gray as well. And now I'm going to go to File and then Add to Dock. Going to remove it from the dock here, but when I go to my Home folder in Applications, I will find Send Files right there. Let's open up a second Finder window and then edit the toolbar. Let's get rid of that other one we added before and instead add Send Files here. So now to test it out, I'm going to select these two images here, and I'm going to click this button. It's going to open up the Mail app, and you can see it's going to create a new message here, and you can see it's got those two images attached. So a quick way to be able to select some files and then send them. And here's one last shortcut that I find kind of interesting. This will add a file to reminders. So a productivity hack is, of course, when you need to accomplish a task, but you can't do it right now or you don't want to interrupt what you're doing, you just create a reminder. Now, you can drag a file to the Reminders app, but let's say you don't even have that open. It would be nice to be able to select a file in the Finder and with one click, add that file as a reminder. So in this, it's going to get selected files from the Finder, which we saw before. You can start a lot of useful Finder shortcuts with this one action here. Then I'm going to repeat because there might be multiple files. We want to create a reminder for each one. It's going to get the name. I'm using the Get File Details action there. So I'm going to get the name. I'm also going to use that same Get File Details, but this time get the file path and of the repeat item. So each time through the loop, it's going to get it. I'm going to use URL encode for the file path. That will handle spaces correctly. Then I'm going to use the Add Reminder action to add the name of the repeat item, the name of the file, to reminders with no alert. Under Show More, note that in the Notes section, I've typed file : / and then I control clicked here, Insert Variable, and added the URL encoded text. So in other words, the path to that item. Note I've set the reminders list to be reminders. You can switch this to any list that you want that makes sense. And That's the whole repeat loop. So it's going to repeat and add any selected files as individual reminders with a link in the note. I've added this little icon here that looks like a reminders list and set it to gray. And I'm going to go to File and Add to Dock. I'll get rid of it out of the dock like that. And then I'll go in the Applications folder here in my Home folder. I will see the Add File to Reminders. So let's customize the toolbar. Remove this one. And instead, I'm going to add File to Reminders. And now I can select some files. Let's go under Current right here. And let's select this file and this file, 2 of them. I'm going to click on this and it will run the shortcut. Now let's go to the Reminders app. And here I am in the Reminders list. And there are the 2 new reminders it's added. You can see it's got the file name for each one. And I can click on this little link here and it will take me right to that file. So I'm going to give you one last tip here. You can change how this looks by control clicking, right clicking, or 2-finger clicking on the toolbar like before. And instead of going to Customize Toolbar, you can just use one of these 3 options here. It's the same if you choose Customize Toolbar and you look down at the bottom. You can change from icon only to text only. And this often takes up less space. You can also have icon and text to have both. So we know some people sometimes don't like just having icons there and can't remember what these all mean. So for some, using text instead of icons may be better. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.